Hi friends, I have just completed a new journal. I used a shirt to cover the journal and cut out the pocket and adhered that to the shirt. Where the shirt buttoned up, I put it on the spine, and then here's the back. This journal was inspired by a very special family that lives in the UK, and that is why I chose this particular pattern. I have used a kit in this journal, and the kit was created by Ephemera's Vintage Garden. The name of the kit is Floral Symphony, and the link will be in my description box. Most of what you will see in this book is from the kit. For example, this first page is. Now, in order to pull some more red out of the prints to go with this cover, I went with my marker. I have a red marker, very, very fine point, and I actually put it on the flowers. It's a very subtle difference, but it does make it a little bit more red. Also, it's worth noting that I printed the kit out on one-sided scrapbook paper, so the kit print will be on one side, and then the scrapbook paper is on another. Here's another piece of the shirt that I used for the cover. I just created a little pocket. I added some lace and added one of these, I forget what we call it, clusters. I added one of these clusters that I made not too long ago. This family that I'm sending this to, I don't know if they know exactly what a junk journal is. I tried to keep it simple in that many of the tucks are actually cards. This was a card that was sent to me by a swap partner, and her name is Tina Golden. This is just some coffee dyed paper. I made a pocket out of a print from the kit, and I went through and I added corners just to pull everything together, and also it makes the corners, if people are using them to turn the page, it makes them just a little more hardy. You'll see some stitching here because I stitched in some journaling paper here that I had coffee dyed. This is a belly band that I made out of some of this paper here, and I just added pieces of the t-shirt and then pieces of the kit that was torn up. And I just tucked it with a little card. On this page, you can see some stitch here. It's because I sewed on this black lace. I also sewed in this black burlap. This family that I'm sending it to, they live in the English countryside, and they do so many things with nature. Like they go and they pick berries, and they make jam, and they make tea, and they make all kinds of wonderful things. And I wanted to honor them in that way. I wanted to use a Floral garden kit, which I did, but I wanted to marry it with the more rustic colors that I see in their videos. So I really challenged myself to create a book. For me, this is a very different style in that I'm marrying these two different styles, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. A little piece of lace and the t-shirt with a wooden butterfly from BB Craft, actually. Also, you'll notice throughout some torn paper that I have decoupaged on, and I did that again. I wanted to, you'll see it here as well, I wanted to create this kind of rustic, old world feel. And so I did that because it's kind of like, if you're in an old house and the wallpaper is peeling and you get to see what's behind it. So I did that here and there throughout the book to give that sort of feeling. This pocket comes in the kit. You just cut it out and fold it and glue it. This is a book page that I went over with some stamping ink. Sewed on some more coffee dyed paper. Oh, and here's a pocket. I'll need to stuff this. Actually, I just dyed some paper. Let me go grab some. I actually just this morning dyed this paper with hibiscus tea, which looks pink and then it turns blue when you work with, well, depending on what kind of paper you put it on, that happens. Sometimes it stays pink, but this particular piece came out blue. So we are going to put that in there for them. Here's another belly band that I sewed together. Here's some of my coffee dyed paper. I actually made this morning too. I think let's stuff some of this in there as well. I tore the edges just so it would look, you know, old and all that. They could put a picture here of their kids if they wanted to. This is some coffee dyed paper that I attached. So that's the end of the first signature. Now we're going into the second signature. This was coffee dyed and spritzed with gold paint, and then I lined it with some washi tape. Just a little flip. So this was actually a page of tags that I printed out from the kit, but I printed it too small, and I printed it on regular paper, and I tend to like to print those on cardstock. But I'm not going to throw anything away, so I turned it into a nice pocket. Here's another one that was part of the ones that I printed in error on the wrong paper, so I just attached it and added this. So you'll see those throughout. I added them. You know, like I said, I don't want to waste anything, so I just added them. Here's some old vintage paper. This is from my friend. Her YouTube channel is Treasures and Adventures, and she gave me a bunch of stuff that was from her mom. And I appreciate that so much. It was so nice of her. Again, this is the kit. This is the scrapbook paper. And on the back, it's printed out on that scrapbook paper. Okay, so kit, scrapbook paper. And this is too dark to write on, obviously. But you know, I was thinking I could have covered it with paper, but I thought, what if they wanted to attach a picture of one of their kids to it? There's several of these throughout, they could do that. So, or if they wanted to write on it, they could attach a piece of, you know, little scrap paper to it. So I just felt like I wanted to leave it up to them to just have fun with it. So here's a little belly band that I made, and it goes nice with this paper here. It's kind of got the natural colors with some peach. These are the flower punches from the checks that I have, and I sewed this together. Added some scrap fabric. It's 100% cotton vintage fabric, and then I added this little die cut. None of that's from the kit, just so you know. So I have this vintage bear card we're adding in there, and then just some paper. And over here I have this burlap pocket. I actually found that on clearance at Hobby Lobby a long time ago, and I'm just adding this little card to it. Now this I love. I'm going to tell you why. This is a page from the kit. I tore it. I went over the edges with black stamp ink, but before I did that, I actually Mod Podged it on both sides, and it's given it this wonderful, almost leathery feeling, and I'm really pleased with how that turned out. Nice space for journaling, and then some coffee dyed paper. This is vintage paper actually, and I just added about 4 pieces of that. This was from, gosh, so long ago, maybe the year 2000, and I have had it, haven't used it, and I thought since they do have kids, they might have fun writing inside of those. So here's another piece of it was some scrap. I decoupaged it on, again, to give that torn wallpaper look. So here's another piece of the shirt that I disassembled to create the cover, and I sewed it right into this page, and I went through and used stamp ink over I forget what we call it, but y'all know what I'm talking about, and made this butterfly, and then I decoupaged this piece of torn paper in. And these are just some little tiny journaling spots. So over here we have a vintage envelope. It is dated January 3/79. The postage at the time was 13 cents. And I just tucked a little card inside. I'll probably add some coffee dyed paper to that page. Actually, let's do that now. Here's the other side of the envelope, and I used washi tape along the bottom. I tried to leave room in some of these, usually I stuff them full of, like, you know, 3 or 4 cards or pieces of paper. I try to leave room in case they want to add their own. This is a vintage paper I got at the estate sale. And this is just, I put this little piece of scrap, it matches this one. I just put it on here to create a little pocket and then added a little card. All right, now this is just a really cool, this came out really cool. Coffee dyed paper I did a little while back, and then this one is coffee dyed and spritzed with gold, and they are vintage papers too. So here's our third signature. And then I added envelopes, and I did our, you know, torn wallpaper effect here. This envelope is dated May 6, 1980. Postage was still 13 cents at that time. This is some eco-dyed paper that I did about 2 weeks ago. So here is a sleeve from the shirt that I disassembled, and actually I forgot to stuff it. So, but anyways, look at this. I sewed the shirt right into this page, and let's go ahead and add, since I have this here, I had just grabbed it from my stack. Let's go ahead and add that to it. The blue looks nice in there, I think. I'll probably add another one. So here's a little piece of burlap that I sewed into the page. Here's another piece. Of course, this is kit. Here's another piece of it. I went over the edges with the black ink. I tore it just to give it that old world feel. Here's a little belly band that I had made, and I added, well, it was sewn, and then I added a couple layers, and it says True Happiness. Because this family that I'm sending this book to, if you watch their videos, they truly are just happy, and they're so unique and wonderful, and their name is Home is Where Our Heart Is, and they have a YouTube channel and a Facebook. Here's another tag that I got from a swap partner, and her name is Tina Golden, and that was so nice of her. It's beautiful. I think it works wonderfully in this journal book. This is just a black doily that I used as a little pocket. Now that I have a fresh batch of eco-dyed and coffee-dyed paper, I'll probably go through here and just add, like I would add a taller one up in here. So I don't know if you can see the pattern on this, and here it is on this other one too. So when I was coffee dyeing, and I took like the paper that holds the coffee grounds, I took it and I dabbed it on here when it still had the grounds in it, and it kind of made a cool pattern, so that was nice. This is the last page. I made the kids some junk journals, and maybe I'll do a separate video on that. Very excited that I've completed this design team project for Ephemera's Vintage Garden. I am excited that I was able to challenge myself and blend sort of a rustic and what I would consider to be pretty feminine floral, kit, and I think it's quite unique. And I'm really looking forward to sending it out to them. I hope you enjoyed this flip through. If you did, please smash that like button, and please subscribe to my page. If you hit the bell, you will get notifications of my new videos. I try to upload 3 times a week. Thanks for watching. See you soon.